guys, it's your favorite wannabe Jedi from Michigan, Caitlin, and yes, I am back. I am sorry it has been so long, but as I said in my last video, or maybe the video before that, I am now one of the employed, and granted my job isn't the greatest, but the hours aren't so bad, but it isn't giving me a lot of free time to do what I love, which is read, vlog, talk about Star Wars, watch the new show I'm into. I'm really into this new show, called When Calls the Heart. And it's awesome. It's really cool. It's set in Canada in like the early 1900s, and I love it. Sailor Moon Crystal started the Infinity Arc, and I've missed the last 2 episodes. I was able to catch up last night. And of course, Star Wars. I haven't been getting into my Star Wars as much because of work, and I'm really bummed because I did get my schedule, and I am working on May the 4th be with you, so I am working on Star Wars Day, sadly. Luckily, I get out at 3, so I should be able to come home and maybe watch Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, or maybe just the originals. But never fear, next week I have 3 days off, so I'm definitely doing something Star Wars-y that week. And if you're worried about my videos going Star Wars overload, don't worry. In a couple weeks, I'm actually going on a little 2-day trip with my family. We're going down to Grand Rapids. My mom is actually graduating this fall from college with her bachelor's in fraudulent accounting, and so May 1st is actually the commencement ceremony, so we're going to go down to that, spend the night, and then the next day we're actually going to go to one of my favorite places in all of Michigan, John Ball Zoo, which I will talk about just to give you a brief little thing. It's this really cool zoo in a park in Grand Rapids, and because of how Michigan is, especially this area of Michigan, the zoo is actually built into like the sides of hills and like little cliffs. So as you go deeper into the zoo, you're actually going higher and higher and higher and higher. And at the very top, there's an amazing view of downtown Grand Rapids. It's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Last time we went was in 2012, and we went because the zoo just got a Komodo dragon named Precious. Coolest thing ever! Oh my gosh, I love seeing it. But they were also totally revamping the zoo, so there's like a ton of construction and a lot of the animals weren't out. But we did enjoy it. It was great. We always love going to John Ball, and we're going to go back in a couple weeks, and hopefully the weather will be nice, warm, and sunny, and they'll be able to have a lot more animals out. I'm crossing my fingers that one of the exhibits that will be open is a stingray exhibit that I think they actually opened in 2012, and it's one of the ones where you pay, and it's like $1 if you're a non-member, 90 cents if you are, and you pay and they give you food, and you go and you stick your hands in the stingray tank, and the stingrays eat the food off your hands. I've wanted to try that ever since I've seen video of people doing it. I've always thought it'd be so freaking cool. So if the weather's nice and they have the stingrays out, I'm gonna do that. There's also like a few leopard sharks in with the stingrays that you can touch, so that would be like amazing and awesome. Because it would just add on to another one of an amazing experience I've had when I was like in elementary school. I got to have my picture taken and pet a baby mountain lion, and I've seen the terracotta warriors from China. I've seen medieval armor. I've seen Dead Sea Scrolls. I have done a lot of fun stuff. So feeding like stingrays and getting to touch them, and maybe a leopard shark, that would just like add to the experience that I've had. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to go to John Ball. Like I said, it's been a few years since we went, and everyone in my family, we all have different interests, but for some odd reason, we always loved going to the zoo. We always loved seeing the animals. But I guess that's just who I am. I was always into animals, and I still am. I had goats when I was a kid. I love cats, dogs. I want to have a cat. I want to have a dog. Actually, my dream pet is I would love to have either a capybara, which is the world's largest rodent. It's actually a really cool pet. A fox, which I can have legally in my home state. I am legally allowed to own a fox. I would love to have a Savannah cat, which is a crossbreed between a domestic cat and a wild cat. Or I would love to have either a pit bull or a Dogo Argentino, which is the dog of Argentina, and they're these massive dogs about the size of a Great Dane, and they are just amazing, wonderful dogs. So I'm a huge animal lover, and so I'm excited. But you are not here to hear me wax poetic about a zoo. You're here to listen to me talk and babble on about Star Wars. And not a very long video today. It might be a little longer, but it's because I don't really have a lot of Star Wars stuff to talk about. Rebels is off the air, and I'm running out of topics to discuss via Star Wars until July, which is when the Star Wars celebration starts. I have a few ideas that one of them I feel like I am going to do for sure, and I'll tell you about that at the end of the video. I also have a couple other ideas I'm going to think about. But let's get to what I was planning to talk about today. And first off is Force Awakens special features. Yes, I know the Force Awakens has been out since like the first full week of April. But like I said, because of my job, I actually just watched the special features today. And it was very different. Usually you have like the special features are divided into this, this, and this. And it is like that, but in The Force Awakens, you actually have the option to watch a documentary called Star Wars, The Secret of Force Awakens, A Cinematic Journey. And it's basically all those shorter bits and pieces, bonus features behind the scenes, slapped together in a documentary. And I think it's really more interesting to watch the documentary, The Secret of the Force Awakens, rather than just watch each chapter individually under the title. It was really cool. The first thing I thought was when I saw Carrie Fisher in the one interview. She had these really cool hot pink and black glasses. I'm like, wow. As a girl who wears glasses, I don't wear them when I'm filming because then you would get a double reflection. She has the coolest glasses, and I loved them. It was definitely really interesting because you heard a lot of behind the scenes stories. I did not know how many people there came back. There was a ton of people that had worked on the originals or the prequels or both originals and prequels, and they came back to do Force Awakens. And it's interesting to hear J.J. Abrams say he didn't want to direct The Force Awakens. You know, it was almost like all these people, they were so hesitant to do Star Wars The Force Awakens because they didn't want to be the people who ruined Star Wars. And actually, Force Awakens has been called the best Star Wars movie ever, and that I agree, it is the best Star Wars movie ever, especially when you compare it to the prequels. Yes, I will admit it, I am one of those who I love the prequels. I love Phantom Menace, I love Attack of the Clones, I love Revenge of the Sith. But the reason I love it is I love it because, like I say, one of my favorite Jedi is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm fascinated by him. I think he's awesome. So I always watch the prequels because I'm always watching him because I'm interested in what he's doing in his story. Okay, yes, I like Anakin, and yes, I like Padme, I like everybody else, but for me, the main character of the prequels was always Obi-Wan Kenobi right from the start because, it's just so, I don't know, I was just more drawn to his story in the prequels. It was interesting to see Anakin go dark, but in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, it has been pointed out that it was kind of over dramatic, a little mellow, dramatic, maybe even a little emo, and so I didn't really understand how Anakin Skywalker could go from being this really cute boy to being this rebellious teenager to, oh my god, he's like totally destroying a bunch of people, including kids. And then I watched Clone Wars, and it made so much more sense to me. So, if you haven't seen Clone Wars and you're confused, definitely watch Clone Wars in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It will clear up so many issues. But I was definitely one of those who liked the prequels. It was nice hearing J.J. Abrams and the crew talk about how they try to avoid CGI as much as possible. Yes, they needed it, but they really wanted to go back to the original movies where pretty much everything was real. All the characters were costumes or puppets, and there was really very little CGI because CGI was not to where it was when George Lucas went back and did the prequels. I either read a review or I heard a review somewhere that talked about how much CGI was used, and the example was they used it was a review for Shroud of Darkness, and in Shroud of Darkness there's a really cool moment with Ezra and Yoda is talking to Ezra about the Clone Wars and how it was a mistake for the Jedi to get involved. And as he does this, he shows Ezra images of the Clone Wars, and their images. I didn't realize this till after the episode aired and I was reading reviews. The images Yoda shows Ezra are actually from Attack of the Clones. Now, Star Wars Rebels is 100% a CGI animated show. It's totally computer. But I actually thought the shots for the Clone Wars that Yoda was showing Ezra were actually done just for that episode. No, they're actual clips from Attack of the Clones, and the reviewer pointed out that's one of the things that made the prequels so bad was that so much of the prequels were CGI. So when you have a shot from a movie that was live action, blending so seamlessly with a cartoon that is CGI, it kind of proves that maybe for the prequels they went a little overboard with how CGI stuff was. I mean, one of the things that bugs me about Jar Jar is I kind of find him funny, but one of the things that always bugged me was I could tell that Jar Jar, for the most part, while they had an actor in the suit to help give the actors reference, when the movie came out, it was cool, and then as an adult, when I watched him, I was like, oh my gosh, you can tell Jar Jar is CGI. You can tell that the Gungans and all this stuff is CGI, so it kind of took it out a little bit. So, but it was nice hearing them talk about like how they went back and they shot Star Wars. They used real celluloid film to suit the movie. They constructed as much as they could. They built like a full-size Millennium Falcon. I definitely liked it. It was, I like hearing the stories about that movie. And like as they point out, Star Wars is this multi-generational thing. They pointed out several times during the movie that crew members who worked on like the original movie, now their kids and grandkids are working on the new Star Wars movies. So it's definitely a multi-generational family thing. Unless you're me. My parents don't like Star Wars, so I fell into it accidentally. But it's so cool how they reference the fact that Star Wars is multi-generational. Every generation has a new Star Wars story. You know, I point out, I find it weird because the original Star Wars is not my generation's story. And then the prequels came out. I'm not sure if I could say that's my generation's Star Wars story because when the first movie came out, I was like 11, 12 years old. And I was a senior. I was 17, 18 when Revenge of the Sith came out. So I was going through junior high and high school. I was still a kid. I wasn't really an adult yet. So I kind of consider Force Awakens to be the Star Wars story from my generation because of when I was born. I am considered a millennial, and this has been touted the millennials Star Wars. So I think it's definitely Force Awakens is definitely, this is my Star Wars story, is this generation of Star Wars films. But again, I guess I could say the prequels were my generations. I don't know, but I definitely feel like watching Force Awakens, I definitely do get that feeling from the originals, which is why I like it. And hearing the cast and crew and how they talked about how much emphasis and effort they put into making this movie so similar to the original, and the style and the concept, how they went back to all the Ralph McQuarrie stuff, and it was just awesome. And I learned so much about what it takes to make a Star Wars movie. I said it earlier, I did find it funny how scared they were about making it, how worried they were that this was going to be a bomb, and it's actually so hugely successful and so hugely popular. And it's just going to be another story generations down the road that, once again, Star Wars is ruling the world. And because Disney wants to release a Star Wars movie every single year for the foreseeable future, I don't ever see a time in like the next 10 years when Star Wars will not be ruling the world. I think we will all still be, at some level, Star Wars fans at heart. So, yay! Bonus features were awesome. They did, I think it's Adam Driver who plays Kylo Ren. He actually says something really interesting about the villains. He says, he makes the reference that villains don't see themselves as villains. He says villains see themselves as justified, which makes them so much more dangerous because they feel they are justified in their actions and what they are doing, which adds a whole nother level to what Kylo Ren does to his dad. And it's also interesting, the title of the movie, J.J. Abrams said, was Force Awakens. And it, for me, I was like this. I always thought it was just a reference to the Force reawakening in the galaxy, reawakening in Rey, and starting the new generation of a new Jedi on their path. And he says, no, it's not just a reference to the Force awakening inside Rey. It's also a reference to the dark side of the Force awakening in Kylo Ren. Now he's ready to fully embrace the darkness. I'm like, oh, yay. That means that the episode 8 is probably going to be a little bit more darker, which I'm kind of excited about. But yeah, it was definitely interesting hearing them talk about it, and They do mention 3PO's red arm, and it was released, the story was released that 3PO's arm is red because it was meant to honor somebody who died. So that is why 3PO had a red arm for most of the movie. I'm kind of bummed because at the end he does not have the red arm anymore. Like I said, I'm not the biggest 3PO fan. I do actually have him on my cell phone, but I thought I was getting Yoda and I got 3PO. But I do wish they kept his arm red. That would have been really interesting, but oh well. Also, before I move on, J.J. Abrams did drop a bomb. He said that none of Rey's parents were in Episode 7. So Rey's parents did not appear at all in Force Awakens. What the heck? Okay, everyone's been operating under, including me, that Rey's parents are either Han and Leia or Luke and an as yet unknown woman. I mean, maybe, and I don't even think if she's Luke's daughter that Luke even realizes she existed, because when they met on the at that island, wouldn't he have like shown some sort of recognition that he knows her? I mean, there was nothing. But anyway, apparently, according to J.J. Abrams, Rey's parents aren't in Episode 7. If that's the case and Rey's parents are not Han and Leia or Luke, who the heck are her parents? Who is her family? Maybe some people are right in suggesting that Rey may be related to Obi-Wan Kenobi in some way. But then again, there's also the fact that Rey's an amazing pilot and a great mechanic. Two things I do not think of when I think of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, of course. But two things I do pop up when I think of the Skywalker family. I mean, okay, it's just boggling my mind how JJ can sit there and say that none of Rey's parents are in the first movie, but yet she is so either Luke or Han's kid, and it's bugging me. I don't know if he's just playing a trick on us to get us to think differently or what. But, okay, so apparently Rey's parents aren't in Episode 7. So, yay! That means we have to come up with new theories about who Rey's parents were. And Pablo Hidalgo already busted the theory apart that Rey's mom is Sabine and Sabine is Obi-Wan's daughter. So that theory is gone out the window. But maybe there's a chance she could be like related to great Obi-Wan in some way. I don't know. I don't like not knowing. I need to know, and I don't know how I'm going to find out. But I will at some point. At some point we will discover who her parents are. And I feel like when we do, we're either going to be like, oh, we already knew that, or we're going to be so shocked and amazed. But I'm still operating under the fact that Rey is related to the Skywalker line some way. I just don't know how. I don't. I really don't. But there's got to be some way. Anyway, on to the two. Done with Force Awakens, but we're not done with Star Wars yet. We're on to the two new shows at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which debuted a couple weeks ago. These shows are, I'm calling them a replacement because they're doing work on the streets of America to turn it into Star Wars Land and Pixar Play Place. I am calling these shows a replacement for Star Wars Weekends, because Star Wars Weekends was nothing but Star Wars. You had like lectures from actors and crew members. You had the Star Wars motorcade where the 501st came out in March, and you saw the clone troopers and the Jedi and the Sith and bounty hunters and Dark Jedi, and then you had like the awesome stage shows. And now it's really just down to Star Wars Symphony in the Sky fireworks, which will soon be replaced by hopefully by what is going to be an epic, awesome fireworks show. And these two, one March and one stage show. I have to say I was really excited, especially when I heard about the Galaxy Far, Far Away stage show, because they were toting it as it was going to be recreations of famous moments from the Star Wars movies. And I'm like, oh my god, there's going to be like real, like lightsaber duels on stage and like total reenactments. And I got so excited. Let's get started. First off, the march. Basically, it's Captain Phasma and a platoon of her First Order stormtroopers, and they march from the Star Wars launch bay, which is where you go to see all the really cool concept art and costumes and stuff, and vehicle models from the movies, and she marches from there to center stage, which is in front of the replica of Chinese Theater, you know, where the big blue hat used to be. It happens about 4 times a day, and basically they just march, and she marches on stage with a bunch of them, and then there's a line of them in front, and at first they're 6 feet away from you. And then she gives the command and they come within like inches of you. And I am going to post a link to both to these videos. So they're like right in front of you. And it is creepy. I watched it video. Even on video, it was kind of unsettling because all of a sudden they march and they get closer and closer and closer. And all of a sudden you're staring to the big black like eyes and you're like, oh, don't hurt me. Definitely First Order is a little bit more intimidating than your average stormtrooper. But the way she talks about joining the First Order, how the First Order can provide you with this and bring order back to the galaxy, and I'm going, wow. It's definitely the Star Wars version of Uncle Sam wants you for the bad guys. But it was very short. It was only like a few minutes, and then they march away, and that was it. So they fire their blasters and like little pyrotechnics happen, but it really wasn't like an awesome. It was definitely interesting. It's definitely cool. But it definitely wasn't like, oh wow, this is an amazing show, and but it's cool. And then there was the galaxy far, far away. I was so excited about this. Like I said, I could not wait. It's gonna be awesome, and it was good. It was good. It was good. If you're like if you're getting into Star Wars, I think it's a good introduction to Star Wars. But I'm not sure for a Star Wars fan like me if it's like would be like my first thing. I want to see it if I ever go down there, but I don't think it'd be like the first thing I'd want to see. So much of it actually is just video montages of clips of them like working on the movie, and then like movie scenes from the movie with voiceovers and stuff, and then like 2-minute appearances by the characters. And the characters that showed up in the show were C-3PO, Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, R2, Boba Fett, Chewie, Stormtroopers, First Order Stormtroopers, Darth Maul, and BB-8. Now, the characters came out for like a minute or two, and they came out like C-3PO and R2-D2 came out, talked, and then left. And Darth Maul came out and did like a little lightsaber routine with like pyrotechnics and stuff. He left, and then Chewie came out and left, and Darth Vader. And it was very much. Oh, and Captain Phasma came out with the First Order and Kylo Ren. So it was very like quick. It's like here, bye, and it was basically just you get like a minute to take a picture of the character, and they're gone. And it's like, okay, so the vast majority of it was just like a video montage on the video screens, which is cool. I do like it, but I was hoping there would be a little bit more. I mean, they did say reenactments of famous scenes. Okay, where were the scenes? I mean, why couldn't we have like a quick little duel between like Rey and Kylo Ren? I mean, that would have been awesome. Also, for a Star Wars fan like me, who, as I say, I identify more with characters on the light side. I like the Jedi. I like the Rebels. I like the good guys. Yes, the bad guys and the dark side characters can be a little bit more interesting and cool because they have the freedom. But I'm definitely more a light sider. I prefer the Jedi over the Sith and Dark Jedi. I'm just the good guy. So for someone like me who would much rather, seeing Kylo Ren and Darth Vader is awesome. They're my two favorite villains. There really wasn't a lot of characters on the light side, a lot of rebellion resistant characters, and there was like no Jedi whatsoever. So it's like, okay, where are the Jedi? You know, I want to see like Jedi, okay? Why can't they bring out like Kit Fisto or Plo Koon or somebody like that so that fans like me who are more excited about seeing the Jedi than seeing Boba Fett can get that? So for a fan like me who's very much into the Jedi and the rebellion and resistance and all the good guys, it was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna see bad guys? I mean, okay, Chewie is awesome, 3PO, okay, R2, yay, BB-8, yay, but okay, so it's like 3 droids and a Wookiee, where are the rest of the good guys? So it was kind of a bummer for me, the fact that so much of it is the dark side, is like the Sith and the Dark Jedi and the Stormtroopers and stuff. That was what bummed me out the most, because as I said, I'm the Jedi in a room full of Sith, so it would have been nice to see more Jedi. I mean, one of the guys I follow, Jeff, who does videos for Mouse Steps Weekly for his YouTube channel, he says he would always get excited at Star Wars Weekend because you would never see base characters of like the Jedi Masters and stuff, and then all of a sudden Star Wars Weekend the motorcade like, oh my god, it's Kit he got so excited because Kit Fisto's his favorite Jedi. And I'm going, oh my god, it's Rex! Because you never see like a Rex character anywhere. And like Star Wars Weekends was the only time when they would haul out face characters of like Luke and Leia and Anakin and Han and Obi-Wan, and it would be like all of a sudden, yay! And then they would go away. So I guess I was kind of hoping that I would see like maybe a face character for Luke or Anakin or Obi-Wan, but it was very much Darksidey. Like I said, I definitely feel like the replacements for Star Wars Weekends, which are not happening while there's construction going on at the park, A Galaxy Far, Far Away, I definitely think they were kind of hoping it would kind of become like Hyperspace Hoopla, which was the dance battle that they used to do before replacing it with the character finale. Which I will link to the 2015 Star Wars Weekend character finale, which I actually love those. I did not like the Hyperspace Hoopla dance-offs. I really liked the character finale when they started doing it because I think it was awesome. Especially when you have James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi from Clone Wars, being the MC. It was so awesome because my favorite part is when he introduces the Jedi or starts talking about the Force, all of a sudden he slips from his normal voice into the cultured, accented voice of Obi-Wan, and I'm going, yay! So, I definitely prefer, like, that kind of thing, the character finale. That was awesome because it wasn't just the Sith and the Dark Jedi. You had the Jedi, you had the Rebels, you had Ezra and Sabine, you had Stormtroopers, and I don't know. I just think I prefer it. And when I go to Star Wars, I'm definitely rooting for the good guys. So just seeing a bunch of bad guys, it's just like, eh. So they're good. If you go down there, you can check them out, but I wouldn't put it as like this is something you have to go and see. You have to go and see Galaxy Far, Far Away. You have to go see the Captain Phasma March. I would much rather, when I go down, if the stars are still there, I would much rather get there and jump right in line so I can go ride Star Tours a bunch of times until I throw up, and then go see Galaxy Far, Far Away and the Captain Phasma March. But yeah, those are the new shows. I'm kind of bummed because I was hoping one thing I would get to have to show you guys is Wicket. As you can see, I don't have Wicket. Build-A-Bear released a Wicket the Ewok bear, full-size bear. And I was actually going to order him. My mom said I could order him. I went and ordered him and he was sold out. In fact, he's not even appearing on the website anymore, so I'm kind of bummed. They do have a Chewbacca, but Chewie's $35, and I don't think my mom would let me spend $35 to get a Wookiee. I want one, though. But yeah, Wicket is apparently no longer at Build-A-Bear, so hopefully they bring him back, and if they do, I'm getting him. But that was, yeah, so new shows. Again, so like I said, I'm running out of Star Wars things to do. I have a couple ideas. I am going to talk about Star Wars Celebration, but that's not for July, so we got a couple of months. My idea of what I'm going to do next, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do this next week or a couple of weeks from now, but ta-da! I finally have all 20 books plus the double special edition of Legacy of the Jedi and Secrets of the Jedi with a short novel about Obi-Wan. So I finally have all the Jedi Apprentice books, and I'm so happy, and I was going to do a review of the series, which I've always found Jedi Apprentice to be a really interesting series, but that was because I started reading it around, because it came out after Phantom Menace. And it's a young adult series, so I actually started reading it in junior high. And I read it through high school, and it's actually a very interesting series. It's no longer canon. It is part of this. It is classified as Star Wars Legends now. But I will talk about that in my next video because I am going to talk about this. If you're a bookworm like me, even if you're an adult, the Jedi Apprentice books are amazing. So this is what I'm going to talk about for my next video. And like I said, there's 20 of them. So I'm not going to give out a full-on review. I'm just going to give basic summaries. Definitely really interesting. Especially now that it's no longer Legends and there's a little more information out there about the Jedi Order. It's interesting to see where they went with Legends and where it is now in canon. So, yep, sometime soon I will post a video about the Jedi Apprentice books, which are awesome. I have a couple ideas. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm definitely going to post videos and pictures from John Ball Zoo. I'm thinking about doing what I did. I did the recap with Rebels. I'm thinking about doing something like that for Clone Wars, only I'm going to watch the Clone Wars in chronological order. So it'd be, I know people are out there with the videos for Clone Wars, but I think I'm going to do a video series of what I did with Rebels. Basically recap and summarize the episodes, but I'll do them in chronological order. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Let me know what you think. I'm still debating about doing a recap series for Gargoyles. I think that would be interesting. I think a lot more people would get into that because it is a 90s series, and it is interesting watching that series now as a 28-year-old adult who lived through the 90s and is in the new millennium and is going back to the cartoons of the 90s and looking at it and going, wow, that is what we had during the 90s, the kid shows and the cartoons are so much better than, for the most part, than what we have now that our kids are watching. So I might do that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say something I forgot. Shoot, I totally. Oh, yes. Fan fiction. I've talked about this before about if you're disappointed how an episode ends, like Twilight of the Apprentice, when we don't know what happened to Ahsoka. I like her. She's still on my wall. I miss her. Yes, you can tell I rearranged my posters. I got a new one. It's one for New Hope, but yeah, fan fiction. I have jumped into the world of fan fiction, not just to further make myself uncomfortable and nervous about how the world sees me. I'm not just doing a vlog. Last night I wrote and published my first fan fiction on fanfiction.net, which I will link to. And it is Star Wars. It is in the movies universe, and it is called Your Time Has Not Yet Come. And I have debated about this for a while. I was going to write Rebels fanfiction where I gave Ezra a twin sister, but I decided that, well, that was interesting. I really wanted to rewrite Star Wars starting from maybe before Attack of the Clones, and rewrite it and give Anakin a twin sister and the twin sisters from Earth, and rewrite it so that instead of Anakin falling to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, everybody lives happily ever after, and the rules change, and Anakin and Padme can get married and raise their family, and everybody's happy, and there's light and peace in the galaxy because, okay, I love the original Star Wars movies, but I just want everyone to have a happy ending. Like I say, I kind of feel gypped that Anakin sacrificed himself after breaking out of Darth Vader and died, so Luke and Leia never really got a chance to meet their dad as Anakin, and I just really feel gypped for some of the characters, so I want to rewrite it so that they have a happier life. So I was working on the first story, Annalise, which I had tentatively titled Annalise the Earth Jedi, and then I started writing the second one, which takes place during Attack of the Clones, because I changed it. Annalise was going to be like almost 16 when she came from Earth to the temple, and I changed it to she's 12, almost 13, so younger. But then I was sitting there last night at work working on the story, and I'm like, I was talking to another employee, and I'm like, Qui-Gon Jinn is one of my favorite characters. He's one of my favorite Jedi Masters, and he dies in the first movie, and it's like a huge disappointment because I think he's an awesome character. He's amazing, and I would love to see him live, and there's so many fan fiction out there where they managed to make him live, and I'm like, I want to do that. I think add so much more and add another way to keep Anakin from falling if the guy who found him, this guy who kind of is really good, stays alive, and I wasn't sure how to do that, so I started writing it down and actually left my notebook with the start of the story at work. So hopefully it's still there to remember, but I came home and I pounded out this fan fiction that's like 1,386 words where Qui-Gon lives because the Force tells him he can't die yet because he has this other child coming, this girl who he needs to help train and take care of because she's gonna help keep Anakin from falling to the dark side, and eventually she's gonna change how the Jedi Order thinks and operates. So it was posted last night. It's on fanfiction.net. I'm going to include a link. Please be kind if you review it. It's not my first fan fiction, but it's the first one I ever published, and I actually went back and read it today. And I want to kick myself because at one point I meant to say the word mental, M-E-N-T-A-L, and instead of mental, I wrote metal, M-E-T-E-L, so, and I don't know yet how to go in and fix it, but, yeah, so, please be kind, please go check out my fanfiction, go check out the videos I'm linking below, and that's it. So hopefully soon next week I will have a video up for you about Jedi Apprentice. Yay! Coolest series ever. And then following week, hopefully I can get the stuff up from Dragon Ball Z. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's only a few more weeks until Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So let's get excited and let's get pumped. I'm Caitlin, your favorite wannabe Jedi from Michigan. May the Force be with you.